Hi, everybody, and this is Ryan, and I'm here with the guys from the Volcanics. How are you doing today, guys?
Hi there.
Good, good.
Good.
So, what I want to talk about is the Volcanics today. You've been around quite a long time. Tell me a little bit about how you got together and some of the musical inspirations you had for your music, your surf music.
Jared and I started our first surf band in the mid-90s in high school. We did a high school talent show. But shortly after, he took off to Seattle. I stayed in Los Angeles, and I continued to play surf and formed the Volcanics with the guys from the Mighty Cagesmen. That was a band made up of the Markdowns and the Ghastly Ones. And so we ended up being a three-piece, and just, there's different members throughout the way, along the way. Yeah, it's just, we like old 60s instrumental surf, frat rock and roll, stuff like the Crossfires, the Fender 4, all kinds of cool stuff. And then, I was good friends with Chris Barfield of the Finks and the Huntington Cads, so he turned us on to a lot of really cool music. I'd go watch the Go Nuts play and the Bomboras, and so I knew all those guys, and they influenced me a lot in what I wanted to play and what I wanted to sound like. So been at it ever since, and Ben and Jared hopped on along the way. Jared came back from Seattle. When'd you come back, Jared?
Maybe 6-7 years ago, something like that.
And he didn't start right away with us. He was recording the band because that's what he was going to school for, and he ends up teaching now at the music college. And finally, he would tour with us a lot because our other bass player wasn't able to tour. So Jared was always hopping on shows when we travel. So he was kind of always a part of the band, and then he just became permanent. And then we needed a drummer, and Ben hopped on like a month before we toured the East Coast. So that was pretty exciting, pretty interesting. So.
Yep, cram session.
Yeah, I'm the new guy. I did not grow up with all of them. I'm the young one, but I knew the Volcanics just sort of in the scene. So I moved to Los Angeles in 2007 as a drummer and played in a bunch of different bands, for studio and touring and stuff like that. And then a few years back, a group that I was working for, our singer was DJing a club, this bar that's since closed, but called Spikes. He was DJing at Spikes. And so I went to go see him DJ, and the Volcanics were playing that night. And after their set, I thought it was really cool. I thought they were cool. I learned differently later, but they were super cool. So I went up to him after, and I was like, "Yeah, that was rad. You guys are super cool. Like, I really dig it. I think you guys are doing something really cool." Frankie and I became friends on Facebook, and like I kept playing, touring around, doing various stuff, and then out of nowhere one day I get like a Facebook message from Frankie that's like, "Hey, you still like drumming, right? Like, you're still doing that?" And I was like, yeah, I'm good. He's like, "Yeah, would you want to try out for a band?" And I was like, "What band?" He's like, "Volcanics. We like kind of just lost our drummer. We have a tour in it was like less than a month at that point. Would you want to like hop in and do this?" And the fill in quick learn thing is like kind of my bread and butter. So I was like, "No problem. Why not?" And he's like, "Here's 30 songs. Learn them."
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, you're not going to get paid.
Yeah. By the way, we have no money, and you have to learn 30 songs. But we get to fly coach. And I was like, "Great."
Yeah, Ben killed it. I mean, he learned literally, we had like 35 songs to learn, because when you're a surf band, they make you play like 2 or 3 sets, and like you're like, so it's a workout. So
yeah,
That's crazy. So, Jared, where do you teach uh, in California?
I do I work as like mostly a lab tech at Los Angeles College of Music, and some of the classes I've taught are more technical, like DAW related classes like Pro Tools and Ableton Live, that kind of stuff. And then on the side, I've always kind of done like private lessons in like just general engineering and recording and
Oh,
music production.
interesting. So
Yeah.
this is for the guitar player. Who is, I think I may know the answer, but who is the most inspirational surf guitarist for you?
I get asked that question all the time. I don't know, man. Who made me want to play guitar? I had to
Yeah.
say Ace Frehley, but
I,
I don't know. Surf guitar players, yeah, you know them, man. You know Dick Dale, but like being around Garrett and Lord Hunt, Greg, those guys, those two guitar players, Ghastly Winds and the Bombors. I mean, I always like in high school listening to those guys and going to their shows. Like that's what I want to sound like. So yeah, it was more tangible for me to actually see them. I did see Dick Dale a couple times in the '90s. Of course, he ripped. He's Dick Dale. But then like I had these friends like Chris and these other guys just showing me, yeah, listen to this, listen, this band called the Crossfires, Fender 4, and so you hear them and you're like just as blown away. But yeah, I mean, we've never ever played Miserlou live. I don't know if we ever will, because when you're a surf band, and you're playing with other surf bands, you get all these surf bands playing that song that same night. So, but yeah, Dick Dale, he's the man.
Yeah, man, I love Dick. Well, I don't love Dick, but I love Dick Dale. But
I did see Dick Dale and Noki play together on stage.
Oh,
That was
did
really
you?
cool. It was one of Dickerson's Guitar Geek festivals. That was really cool. And it was like a small room, and you're up there and you're just listening to both of them shred. That was pretty cool.
That's so cool. So Sean Berry has built this kind of platform for everybody, starting with the Continental and then Double Crown. You want to tell me a little bit about how you fit into that big picture? Anybody?
Yeah, Sean was always there since we first started, and he's always taken an interest in us. And he's my pal. I've known him for years, and he's a sweet guy. He's always trusted our music. I would call him every once in a while. I got new material. We're working on an album. He was patient as all hell. We'd take years recording it because it was all do it yourself in my mom's bathroom. Is crazy, but he trusted us. He heard our first album and he liked it, and he just put out everything else that we had up until I believe our latest 45, which was Freak Out. He does a lot of the CDs, which I was loving and still love, but Ben just informed me. He said, hey, cars don't come with CD players anymore. I'm like, what?
Yeah, they don't.
Sure enough, I know they don't. Laptops either. And I'm using the Chromebook right now. How do you use this thing? But yeah, so people are going back to 45s, vinyl, and so we kind of moved on to that platform. But yeah, Sean's great. I've known him. I help him out when the Surf Guitar 101 convention's on. Sometimes he has me man the booth. And I do the sales for Double Crown Records there. So I've known Sean for years. And he's great. Yeah.
Have you heard of Missing Fink Records?
Yes.
And
yeah.
the Messer Chops and those guys?
Yeah.
There's
I just saw that post. I'm going to try to get a free T-shirt.
Oh yeah. We got Dee Dee Ray.
Yeah. It was pretty cool.
They got a lot of good surf in Europe and in Russia. They're from Russia.
Right,
Um,
right.
but how is it when you get out there? How do you guys feel about the scene when you go out on your tour?
And you
And you
guys
want to
want
take
to
this
take
one?
that?
I mean, I think what's interesting. I think what's interesting about touring with Volcanics is, we there's this, to me, a subset of the surf scene, right, where you sort of have the sort of like dyed in the wool surf groups, and then there are sort of these like fringe groups that are associated with surf, but are also interested. I think that's when you get into things like the rockabilly scene, or like the garage rock scene, the punk scene, stuff like that. You mentioned like Messer Chups, which I was familiar with prior to joining the Volcanics or being in the surf scene, because one of the other groups I play for is like a psychobilly type band that does a lot of stuff in Europe. So I knew those guys from like the, creepy rock and roll scene, right? Like,
Yeah,
and I think for Volcanics, we have a very similar a similar footing, right? Where we're a surf band and we're part of the surf scene, and but we also play a lot of like garage rock shows and punk shows and like rockabilly, like car shows, like stuff like that. So us on tour, see, I got to the answer eventually. Us on tour is interesting because I think we get to kind of go into different different rooms and different scenes, right? Like,
yeah.
again, we mentioned earlier, but we were on the East Coast a while back, and it was like you sort of never knew what day you were going to wake up to, right? Like, I think the first 3 days of that tour, it was like the first show was at like Brooklyn Bowl, and it was like a back room punk show, brick walls, like, like the Gilman vibe. And then the next day you wake up and we played like a 3-hour set at a beach bar to like a bunch of people like drinking cocktails. And then the next day you're doing like a surf fest, and it's like us and Surfer Joe and those kind of guys. So touring with Volcanics is fun because you sort of wake up and go like, am I going to a punk show today? Am I going to a dive bar? Am I going to go like play before like a pinup girl contest? I don't really know. Like, it's kind of cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah, multi-dimensional for sure.
So, what are you guys doing during the quarantine? Is there a lot of writing going on? I mean, you're a three-piece now, so are all of you contributing to the writing, or?
Yeah,
Eventually,
pretty much. Jared, you take this one. I've been talking
yeah.
too much.
Yeah, well, Frankie and I live like 5 minutes on foot from each other, so we can go into the backyard as long as it's not too smoky or the weather's not too hot, and we can sit with guitars and we can write probably 3-4 songs in a night, depending on how many beers we have. So, I mean, yeah, we're constantly writing, and all I want to do is record. I mean, a lot more than these guys probably. That's all I want to do. But we do really well together as a group. So we do best when we're in the garage or in the jam room, all playing together, working stuff out. We can move really fast. I mean, we can come up with an EP like in a few days, and then everyone's happy with it after like a week or two. I mean, we can really move fast. Frank and I can sit down with guitars and come up with riffs all day. And then when we get with Ben, it's just on. Like, we can just go. We just move.
Yeah, Ben's really good at fine tuning and dialing stuff in. Jared and I will bring stuff to the table, and then we work it out as a band, and just make arrangements and rearrangements and whatever we have to do. And getting into the studio is also fun too. Ben will come out of nowhere with a bell. Hey guys, let's shake this. So
I love my auxiliary
so
percussion.
it's good. We're doing a lot of writing right now. I mean, a lot of writing between Jared and I coming up with new material, and then just it's fun. So we're definitely making use of this time. So we're actually looking to go back into the studio soon. We were just talking about that last night. So it's just what kind of songs do we want to record out of the bunch. So
That'd be exciting to hear that because a lot of bands are taking this opportunity to write. Like a lot of bands came out with albums right before the lockdown, and they didn't get to tour on them. So
Oh,
they, yeah. So then they go back into the writing phase, which me as an outsider, I think, oh wow, now I'll get an album sooner. But for the musicians, it's not the best of situations. But there's still people that want to hear the new music.
Yeah, band's been a mastermind. We'd have to be creative in different ways as to how we're going to promote the album, and our digital media, social media accounts. That's all Master Ben, his work. Splicing videos together. Just being creative and promoting the album that way. We had our 45 Freak Out come out this year in April off of High Tide Recordings, so that was tough not getting to tour for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's that came out at the top of, I guess, what we're considered like quarantine, right? And so it's like sort of like a fun brain teaser, right? You're like, how do you promote an album or how do you promote a new record and you can't have the band in a room together? So it really just came down, which was we were grateful and it was awesome. Vince from High Tide reached out and he's like, hey, like this quarantine thing sucks. Like, let's just do something cool and do something positive. Like, let's put the record out a month early, get it out there, get it up, go for it. And I was like, yes, love it. This is going to be great. Let's do something fun and like not crappy for like one, like let's just get something positive out there. I was like, but then I sit back and I go like, oh crap, I need to figure out how to like message this. And I literally can't be in a room with my bandmates. So it's just, luckily, like I just am, I have no life. So I have like a fair amount of like, over the last couple of years of us touring and being out on the road and doing shows and stuff like that, I had enough sort of like backlogged video and content and photos and stuff that I could like, you can see when you go back on like our Instagram or Facebook and look at like the Freak Out promos, the footage you see of us playing is just like pulled from everywhere. You know what I mean? Like any proof of us playing in a band together in a room must be repurposed.
Yeah, he's so organized. He has so much footage. I'm like questioning, what are you doing? Why are you filming this? And later on, I'll see it like 6 months later. Oh, it's used for this. So it's cool.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. I'm also in my little brood, my family. I'm the guy with the camera that's documenting everything, and my in-laws are always like, "Oh, he's taking pictures again." I said, "Yeah, well, one day they'll be gone, and then I'll have to sit there and look at the pictures."
Yep.
So what can we expect now that you've been writing and stuff like that? What can we expect when things let up? I mean, I know touring's kind of up in the air, but what about the new music? What do you have planned?
Ben?
Yeah, I can jump in. So we I'll have to be like half ambiguous. So I would say spoiler alert, but we won't dive too much into the detail, but there will be another something coming for all of you before the end of the year. And I think if you're a fan of Christmas, you'll be a fan of this. So we got something in the works. We have something ready to go, and you'll see it really soon. So new music coming this year, and then I think for us, I think we've been doing sort of like the remote demo process on our end.
Yeah.
And that's where, for me, if I like zoom out from like being fun animal behind the drums and like really look at it, I'm like, okay, we have a bunch of demos. Jared's excited to record. Frankie keeps sending me like songs to like learn. But really, you know, I think what's going to be interesting, and we kind of got to figure out, I don't have an answer to, is, you know, when 2021 begins, you know, hopefully, fingers crossed, right? Like we want to see stuff opening up again. You know, what I venture to say is like, cool, we need to get back on the road, booking stuff, getting stuff going. One, we haven't really been able to get anything solidified on the calendar because I think, one, nobody knows what's happening, right? Like nobody wants to confirm a festival. Nobody wants to confirm, because we really are in uncharted territory. So to me, I'm like, okay, one, I don't know when things are going to be normal again, and I'm going to be able to go on the road. And then when they do open up, I'm going to have Freak Out and this other unnamed record that I need to go promote. Like I got to go sell the stuff from 2020 now. So I think you'll see one more thing from us for this year in the recorded audio space. You know, then we gotta go sell some records. We gotta go sell some records for Vince and Sean.
Oh man, if you need any help promoting them, that's what we do at Pi Records.
I love to hear it. Take all the help I can get.
Yeah, I'm sure you see like some of the videos we've done. My wife does those, and she's super into surf and rockabilly, and you know, like getting to know you guys and getting to know the people in the scene has been pretty cool, because I grew up listening to surf, and just knowing that it's still going strong is pretty damn cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of labels, like you just said, just booming out with a lot of stuff around the world, not just Los Angeles, California, all over the world, you know. So that's pretty exciting to see. You know, there's just tons of labels, tons of bands, and it's gaining traction right now. So it's really exciting, especially having done it for so long, you know. So it's really neat to see.
That's awesome. Is there anything, Ben, Jared, or Frankie, that you want to add before we sign off?
Go vote.
Yeah, please go vote. And then if you have spare time, please buy our record.
And wear a mask.
And wear a mask.
Definitely, to all those. But I do want to ask, because I haven't gotten a chance to ask anybody about the fires. How you guys doing out there?
Jared was making snow angels on the ash.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no,
quite that bad, but it was pretty bad.
Yeah, like the city, Jared and I live in the same city, San Gabriel, and the city just north of us, Monrovia, was evacuated, and so it was really close. We live in the foothills of the San Gabriel Valley, so it was black skies. I mean, my car was covered in ash, still is, because I haven't washed it in like 2 years, but yeah, it was bad, really bad. We couldn't go out for like, I don't know, a week and a half, 2 weeks, and you can smell it in the house. You know, Jared was like taping his windows shut, he was telling us. So, but yeah.
Oh my God.
No.
Well, I'm gonna let you guys go. I want you to be safe, and I can't wait to hear your new stuff. Like I said, I've been listening to you guys all week. I've been totally getting stoked for this interview, and
Awesome.
it's been totally rad talking to you.
Thank you so much for having us. Really appreciate it. Thanks for the invite.
Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks,
All right.
man.
All right.